Hi, this is Jana Whitley, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Cinderella's arms. And so this is going to be on page, 17 of the Disney Princess Crochet book. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with our light blue yarn, and we've got our E-hook, 3.5 millimeters. Now this is going to be crocheting a narrow tube. Narrow tube is a little tricky, so I'm going to show you a technique for getting it to the right, making sure you're got the right side out. Let's start with our slip stitch. So we're going to make our loop. We're going to bring the working yarn underneath, and you can either push it through with your finger or grab it with your hook, and then grab the tail and the working yarn with one end, and then the loop with the other, and there's your slip stitch. I'm sorry, not slip stitch, it's a slip knot. Slip stitch is different. This is a slip knot. So, and then we put the hook in here, and then you can just pull on the working yarn to bring it up close to the hook. And now we are going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull it through the loop. There's one chain. Yarn over, pull through the loop. There's the second chain. Okay, now the instructions tell us we're going to single crochet 4 in the second chain from the hook. And this is the first chain. This is the second chain. We insert the hook in the second chain. Bring up a loop. Yarn over again. Bring it through 2 loops. That's single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your end of your first round. And forms kind of a small C shape. And the next thing, I'm not going to use the stitch marker just yet, because with work this small, it gets a little difficult to move that stitch marker every 4 stitches. Now we're to do the round 2. I'm going to insert my hook under both loops of the first single crochet that we made. Yarn over, and then yarn over again, pull through. Okay, and it's going to start to form a little, it's going to tighten up. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to kind of peel it back and find that 4th, and there's 4. Now I've done 2 rounds, and it's this weird little inside out ball. We need to turn it to the right side. So I'm going to pull my working loop a little bit bigger, take my hook out. Now there's a tiny little hole. It's kind of like a little swallow's nest. We're going to grab those single crochet, the top of the single crochet stitches, and kind of peel them back, kind of stretch them. And then you're going to push the first round through with your fingertips. And kind of just work your way around. Make sure you don't lose that working loop. Make it bigger if you need to. And just push, we're going to push that first round through. And kind of work your way around, peeling those single crochets back. And there is the first round at the bottom. And then you're going to set the stitches by kind of rolling it. Like as if you're rolling a Play-Doh snake. If you've ever rolled little snakes with clay before. And kind of pinch it to set the stitches. So there's 2 rounds. And you're going to make a 3rd round. So let's put the hook back in the working loop. Tighten up the working yarn. And we're just going to count 4. So you can see here's the beginning yarn coming through. I like to leave it there just so I know where the center is. But you can see we're going to go to 1, 2, 3. Oh, make sure I didn't lose count here. Oh, not this one. Don't go to this one again. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go. So, inserting into both loops, but making sure you don't catch the stuff behind it on the opposite end, on there, the opposite side. Make your single crochet 1, turn, like a quarter turn, grab it, single crochet again, give it a little turn, single crochet again, 3, and turn for 4. So try to think about it as like a French fry. You know how a French fry is kind of cut in with 4 sides, and because there's only 4 stitches, you're gonna give it a little quarter turn every time you make a stitch. Now, another tricky part we have to do is color switching in this tiny little tube. So, color switching. Let's grab our cream colored yarn. We're going to do 2 rounds of the cream. Here's mine, Crafter's Secret. It's Magnolia Way. It's a good color for Caucasian dolls. And so color switching. Now, if you haven't done color switching before, a good way to do this is rather than finish your stitch and start a new stitch with the new color, that leaves a bit of a, it kind of makes an odd color switch. So what I do is I pull the last loop out of that last single crochet. So before I finish that final single crochet in the round, I'm going to substitute my new color in, put it on the hook and pull it through, and that means the V on top for the new stitch is going to be the correct color for the new color. Okay, so, and I'm going to do 4 stitches. I'm kind of holding my tails back here out of the way. So here we go. There's a 1, turn, 2. You kind of have to dig with your hook a little to get into that narrow space. 3, 4. Now at this point at the end of the round, I like to take my hook out and secure those ends of the new colors. These 2 here. Actually, well, okay, so here's my, let's see, here's my working yarn. Keep track of everything. Here's the tail end of the new yarn. And I've still got the blue attached. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut about 2.5 inches, just enough to make a square knot. Okay, so I have to apologize. I cut the working yarn of this one in that last take, so I pulled it back, redid that. So let's try that again. This time I cut the blue yarn. This one here. Okay, so there's there's all these crazy little ends hanging out, but here's the one we want to. Here's the ends that we want to tie in a square knot. So, okay, right over left, left over right makes a knot that's tidy and tight. I always have to say that to myself to get it to be a square knot and not a granny knot. Okay, so you've got these fine little ends, and here's from the very beginning. And I'm going to trim that to be short too. In fact, I'm going to trim these all about just 1 inch. And then I'm going to grab a little tool to stuff those inside just a moment. So I want to show you a special little tool I have that I made for stuffing small little areas. Comes in handy. This is a plastic yarn needle, and I cut the end off the eye to make a little fork. And this is good for getting into narrow spots. So I'm going to take this and grab the little ends and stuff them down into the tube. And if you don't have, you know, something like this, you could use a needle and thread the ends and weave them in. But this is a little quicker for me. Okay, so there's there is that. We've secured those ends, those color switch ends. Okay, I'm going to put my hook back in, and I'm going to do another row of cream. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm not going to finish this last stitch because I'm going to do a color switch back to, what color are we doing? Let's check our instructions. We're going to switch to light blue yarn again to make the little puffed sleeve edges. Okay. So let me grab my blue yarn. And it says in FLO, front loops only, you're going to half double crochet 2 in the next 3 single crochets. So just the front loops this time. So we're not going under both. We're just going to grab that. And we're going to do half double crochet. Okay, so if you haven't done half double crochet before, it's a lot like single crochet, except you yarn over first before you start the stitch, before you go under the stitch. So yarn over, and then you're going to go under that front loop. That's a stubborn little guy. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it helps to sometimes put the finger in front of it, kind of. There we go. There's my front loop. Okay, and I'm going to yarn over again, pull through. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over again, pull it through all 3. Now the single crochet, it has the kind of a V with a little extra on top there. I'm sorry, this is the half double crochet, so it's half as tall as, or it's like a so there's a single crochet and there's double crochet. The half double crochet is basically halfway in height between a single crochet and a double crochet. Okay, so we're going to do another one in that same stitch again. So there's 2 half double crochets in the first front loop. All right, and I'm going to yarn over again to go to the next stitch, front loop only. Oops. Yarn over, go through that front loop, yarn over again, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again. There's my half double crochet. Let's do that again. In the same stitch again, yarn over, go through front loop, yarn over again, pull through 3 loops, yarn over again, pull through the 3 loops. So the reason I'm directing you to do these in front loops is that because it makes it kind of turn out, and I wanted to make this kind of puff out like so, and it's kind of curl back onto the arm. All right, so let's do another half double crochet in the next single crochet, front loop only, half double, half double. All right, so we have a little sleeve top there. Now our instructions tell us we are going to slip stitch in the next single crochet. So a slip stitch is simply, we're going to do it in the front loop. So we just go under the loop, yarn over, and then just pull it through both the loop and the other loop. There's my slip stitch. I'm going to do that again. So you're going to go through the loop, yarn over, pull through everything. That's your slip stitch. And that is the end of the arm. And you don't stuff the arm. You're going to leave probably about 8 inches of this light blue for sewing to the doll. So let's cut that tail. Now, I've still got my cream yarn here, right? So from my color switch. So we're going to do that color switch fasten off again. So I'm going to trim that cream yarn. I'm going to, oh, we're going to pull this through so it doesn't come unraveled. Okay, so you can kind of peel that back. We're going to tie our square knot. Right over left. And don't pull it too super tight because you don't want to distort your stitches. Just snug so it'll hold. Left over right. There it is. And again, I'm gonna take my little tiny stuffing tool and hide those ends in there. Okay, so here is one arm done, and you can duplicate that for the next. You also might want to, I'm going to take you can take your needle and take the tail, go through the next, weave it through the next stitch to kind of tighten that up if you like, but you don't need to.